Hi, Mark here, and in this video today I'm going to do something which has been requested a few times on another video which I did. Now, if you've seen this video, if you're a subscriber of mine or you've just come across it and you subscribe because of that, it's the video I did of the arpeggio section of Michael Schenker's Into the Arena. Now, it looks quite different in that video. I had longer hair and I was a bit chubbier, but anyway, forget that. So the video today is about the second half after that, which is essentially like the solo section. So I'm going to break that down in a second and go through that and show you what he plays. And there's a couple of variations in that because there's a couple of different ways, as you know, being a guitarist, you can play so many things in different places. So I'm going to show you a couple of options for that. And if you are a subscriber of mine, the situation behind me might look kind of familiar but a little bit different. And the reason, and apologies for this if you have been waiting for some videos, it's taken me so long to get some stuff up here since the new year, is because I recently moved and it took a lot longer to get organised and get all my studio set up and just get all that stuff done. So also there's a lot of Schenker stuff on Instagram. I see. I don't know if you follow me on there. I'll put links below to that. But he's obviously still a massive influence on people, so I think the timing for this video is still pretty good and relevant, even though this song is getting on for 40 years old, which is pretty damn scary. So let's get stuck in and I'll break it down. Okay, so the bit that we're looking at is the bit that comes out from the arpeggio section, which I looked at in the previous video I mentioned, where it's going and into this. Okay, so it's 12/8 time signature, so it's 1 2 3 2 2 3 3 2 3 4 2 3. Okay, and now just a quick word about tone. Let me just show you the wah-wah. I'm not going to use my wah-wah for the sake of this because I want to keep the tone as sort of clear as possible because I'm on a crunch setting. But what Schenker does quite a lot, he plays on a wah which is kind of set like that, so he doesn't use it for sweeping too often as an actual wah-wah. He normally uses it so that it creates a tone that cuts through in the mix. So if you're into wah-wah, give that a try and just leave it set somewhere where the tone comes through. Let's put that back down there. Okay, so this part is all based around the 3rd and the 5th fret mainly. What Schenker's doing is lots of bends, lots of vibrato, typical Schenker style. If you're a fan of his, then you'll know exactly what I mean. So what I'm doing the 5th fret on the G with my first bend, down to the 3rd fret. Now I'm on the B on the 6th fret, and he goes to here, okay, the 7 on the G, and he holds that note for a bit before sliding back into ending up on that D note, which is the 5th fret of the A string. So that first bit goes okay. Then what he does is he goes into the same beginning part of that motif, so it goes okay, and then he's done down there. He moves up to the D position. Okay, so far we've got okay, so the next bit is a little bit tricky. It sounds like on the original, and let me just clarify something here. As you know, being a guitarist, there's loads of different places you can play stuff. We can have that note there, or like that, it's there. So, I mean, you take your pick really. I mean, if you watch Schenker, as I explain in one of these other sections later on, where it goes, he plays that in a couple of different places. I've seen him live doing it in 2 different places. So the way that it's played, really, I think part of it means that you've got to find what's comfortable for you. This is the notes he's playing, but I'm pretty sure sometimes he switches stuff around. And obviously, as you know, as well, being a fellow guitarist, we tend always not to play everything identical because it's just the way it is, isn't it? So let's have a look at the next section, and it comes down into the rundown and then into the arpeggio. So after we come out from here, we got this note. Okay, but I'm pretty sure it's a bend up. We end up on there. So we're playing in what looks like D pentatonic position 1, but it's a slightly different sequence because it goes, because it's a very neoclassical sounding piece. The chords are not your regular rock chords, that's for sure. So I'm going bending up on the 12, if you want to do it that way, to the 13, which is my target note. Then on 10 on the E string, onto the B, 13 and 11. And I end up on here, which is the 13 on the D, which is the weird sounding note. So it's going, and if I want to put that bend in, or you can do it straight, whichever you prefer, I guess. Then I'm going to go on the B string, so I'm on, the D string, I'm on the 10th and 8th fret. Now I come into the arpeggio, so let's just explain what's going on this arpeggio. It's a D7 chord, so what that means, it actually starts on the 7 note of a D. So if you play the D7 chord, this is like a turnaround chord that you'd get, and what that means is that that 7th note gets put into a basic arpeggio of a 1, 3, 5. So I go notes 7, 1, 3, 5, 7, 1, 3. Okay, so it goes. Okay, back up to there, which is the note I started on. So that's a D7 arpeggio ascending. Okay. When he comes back down, he changes to a D suspended 4. So I start on the 4th note. If I play a D chord and I put that 4th in there, so I'll come down there. So I'm playing in what would normally be a D-shaped chord up on the 14, but I start on the 15, so I'm going. Okay, so I'm playing the D sus4. There's the 4 again, so it's the same note in the octave. So it's a D sus4 reverse. So that whole arpeggio is. Okay, now I have seen Schenker play, and I just want to clarify something here. There's a couple of different ways you can do that. I've seen one tabbed as like that, going across the frets. For me, I learnt this first of all when I was about 14, and I just kind of got into the habit of playing it the way I play it, which I guess is true for many of us. So I do a slide and I go. But what's always tripped me up when I try to play this sometimes is if I do this, I kind of get my fingers in a knot here, and what I found is if I can get to this note here with my second finger, for me that makes a bit more sense. And see what I mean? I'm there, and now my fingers are kind of in a knot. So I always have to pay attention when I'm playing. And to get that bit in there can get a bit untidy if you're trying to play up to speed. So there's two ways. One is this, on the bottom E string, 8, 10, move to the A string, 9 to 12, 10 to 12 on the D string, sorry, 11 to 14 on the G, so I'm going, so you can tell this is not the way I play this, and end up on the 13. So they're the same notes, okay? So there's a couple of different options there to try out. And what Schenker also, I've seen him do live, is on this D sus4 arpeggio on the way down, he can go. But for me that feels really unnatural. I'm playing a D, the same there, but instead of going, I'll find the note here. And as we know, Schenker doesn't generally use his little finger. I don't think I've seen him use it for anything actually. So there's a second option there. I'm going on the D sus4, I get to the D string, I'm on fret 17, 16, 17 on the A, 17 on the bottom E string, 15. Okay, and you can hear it's a completely different sound there as well. So sounds a lot thicker. So that arpeggio bit, that's the bit that trips most people up. Okay, now let's have a look at the bit after that. So there's a kind of a breakdown in the chords after here, and it goes. So I'm on the A and the D string at the 5th fret. Now there's a harmony part in here, it goes. So there's not much time to get those trills in. And it runs down like that, but so it goes. Just going back to what I said earlier about the harmony part on this bit as well, I think it might be a keyboard, it might be a double track guitar, it's kind of just there in the mix, but it goes like where it's going. So it sort of runs in line with this. There. I don't normally play that, so I wouldn't worry too much about it, but I just wanted to kind of clarify what I meant. Okay, so yeah, now we're into the final stages of the solo, if you like. So we've done the rundown, and then we go. So I'm on the 10th fret on the B string, bending up, and then coming down to the 8th fret. There, and then I go all the way up to. I'm now into the G minor position for the final part. So I'm on the, what's that, the 18th fret. Okay, and there's a bend on there, so it goes. So I'm going on the bend up there on the 18, back to the 18th fret note itself, 16th, and there's a little trill there, and then end up on here, the 18 on the top E. So I'm staying in that G minor pentatonic position there. Good old bend that we know on the G to the D string. It sounds very sort of classical, that part, doesn't it? So I'm going, I really have to think about this when I'm doing it slow. It's funny how you get into like muscle memory and playing stuff, isn't it? So I'm going. Ended up on there. So that whole rundown, if I can remember where that actually is, I'm going from the G. On that D string, so I'm going 15, sorry, 17, 15, 13. And then, so the whole part there runs down to end up on the 9th fret. So I'm going D, 12 and 13, 15 on the A. So it's like a little sort of classical sequence there. So I'm on the 15, 13 on the A as well, and the 12. Down to the 10, 9, 12. Okay, so that whole bit goes, sorry. Okay, and then I'm back up to, so this is more sort of, you know, blues derived stuff that we know. And when that's still in that G minor pentatonic position, end up on the 18, fingering on the 18, then it goes. Now there's a monster bend, obviously in a V you can get right up there. My old V, I don't know if you've seen it on any of my videos, it's just the biggest piece of old shit. But I did buy it when I was 13 to be fair, or 14. And you've got this huge bend up to this note up here. So you're going from that part. Okay, if you can find your way back down there. And there's this kind of funny blues bend. It's an in-between note. Okay, and then he goes into all it, which is just basic kind of blues scale, pentatonic, you know, the sort of stuff we normally play. Then he's doing a rundown to get back down to position 1 down in the lower octave. And he's just using the notes from the scale. So in much the way that he does here, where he goes with that trill kind of idea on the rundown, so that, you know, it just makes it more interesting, doesn't it? And they're going, so he's going. So the trick is really, so I'm starting on the 15, 14, trill. And what you see is every time I move to one position, from there to there, I'm going back to the note I was at originally. So I'm going, and now I'm on there. When I move down, I go back to that note, then I move down, and I move down, keep going back to the note. So I'm going, so that's from there, 15, 14, 12, what's that, 10, losing count, 8, 7, 5, 3. God, I'm not very good at this, am I really? Considering I do this for a living, you think I'd be a bit better, wouldn't you? There, I rest my case. And he does this, whatever version you're listening to, but he ends on this fantastic thing where he basically just smashes the shit out of the open guitar with his fret on the second finger and bends that note into G. Okay, so look, I hope that helps. I think I've done a reasonable job, but I'm not sure if I've got time to tab this out. I'm not sure if I mentioned that. I can find out in the editing, but my phone decided to just stop recording after so much time. But anyway, yeah, as I said, I hope that helps. Please leave me some comments in the section below if there's anything that you think I haven't explained very well. I'm more than happy to, you know, help any fellow Schenker fans. And I hope you enjoyed this. Please give it a like and a thumbs up and a sub if you're not a subscriber already. And I love doing these. I'm a bit slow lately, but I really enjoy doing these videos. They're a bit of a challenge when you have to break stuff down and take it slow. But if you do like this kind of stuff, please subscribe and send me a message, a comment, and just say, you know, can you check this out and check that out, and I'll see what I can do. All right then, thanks again. All the best for now, and I'll catch you next time. You take care.